Maruf was drowning. Not in water, but in a sea of textbooks. Papers with equations and historical dates covered his floor. Empty coffee mugs were scattered around, proof of his all-night study session. He was cramming for the Regents, those terrifying tests that loomed over every 8th grader's head. He rubbed his eyes, pushing his glasses back up his nose. He couldn't understand why the Pythagorean theorem was so important, or why he needed to know the exact date of the Louisiana Purchase. Wouldn't knowing who the Louisiana Purchase be enough? It was all a mystery, just like why he couldn't seem to keep the dates of the French and Indian War straight. Every time he thought he had it, the years would jumble in his head like lottery balls. Algebra was like an alien language. Maruf swore those equations were written in some secret code. History wasn't much better. Names, dates, and battles all blurred together. He wondered, when am I ever going to use this in real life? He could already picture himself working at his dad's store, calculating discounts, not the area of a triangle. He sighed. His brain felt like it was going to explode. He just wanted to play video games and forget about all this studying. But he knew he couldn't. Not if he wanted to avoid summer school. The day of the Regents arrived like a thunderstorm. Dark clouds of anxiety hung over the examination hall. Maruf sat at his desk, his heart pounding like a drum solo. The algebra exam was first. Maruf stared at the equations, his mind drawing a blank. It was like trying to read hieroglyphics. He filled in the multiple-choice bubbles randomly, hoping for the best. Next came the US history exam. He recognized some of the names, but the questions were tricky. He tried to remember what he'd studied, but all he could think about was his growling stomach. Section 4. The Summer School Sentence. The test results arrived on a bright, sunny day, a cruel irony considering the news they contained. Maruf's heart sank as he saw the big fat F printed on both reports. He had failed, miserably. All that studying, all that stress, for nothing. It felt like a bad joke. His parents were not amused. His dad just shook his head and sighed. His mom, well, let's just say Maruf would be spending a lot of time helping out at the store this summer. Summer school. It sounded like a prison sentence. He imagined himself stuck in a hot classroom surrounded by other unlucky souls who had also met their academic demise. Section 5. A New Hope. For passing, maybe? Summer school wasn't as bad as Maruf had imagined. It was actually kind of fun. The teachers were laid back and he made some new friends. Plus, he was finally starting to understand some of the stuff that had baffled him before. Maybe, just maybe, he could conquer these Regents beasts after all. He still wasn't a fan of algebra or history, but he realized he couldn't run away from them forever. He had a newfound determination to prove to himself and everyone else that Maruf could, in fact, pass those tests. This wasn't the end of his story, it was just the beginning of round 2. Wait for episode 4 soon.